schools and the junior high school, and from the high schools into the colleges.
At that time, if you wasn't with a #1 crew or a #1 DJ, because it was more about the DJs at that time, Bambaataa, Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Cool DJ AJ, Theodore, and if you wasn't like with an MC for one of those guys, then it was real hard then, because even if you was doing, and I was working with AJ at that time, when it started getting real strong, I was working with AJ. We was doing a lot of shows. We was giving shows in Harlem World, Celebrity Club, all up in Harlem before it got like early 80s, you know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of MCs then trying to get work, but AJ, myself, the Cold Crush Brothers, we was constantly working, keep it going. Bambaataa was working at that time, and he had the Cosmic Force, he had the Jazzy Five, he had a Soul Sonic Force, so we had Zulu Nation all over.
Hip hop wasn't called hip hop at the time. We got hip hop from a brother, Love Bug Starsky.
Hello.
Love Bug Starsky was another MC and a DJ.
Yeah, they know Love Bug. They know Love Bug.
Town saying every time he got on the mic, he would go to the hip, the hop, the hippity hip hop, you know, and so on and so on.
That's
so Bam decided, hey, that sound hot. Let's call this thing that we do MCing, DJ and whatever, hip hop. That's where the name hip hop come from. That's where we at.
As a teenager growing up in the Bronx, Bam joined a violent street gang, the Black Spades. But he was always more interested in the music than causing trouble. His excellent turntable techniques earned him a reputation as the top DJ in the city. His block parties and breakdancing competitions raised him to legendary status amongst his peers. In 1974, Bam formed the Zulu Nation, a crew comprised of former gang members to help assemble the elements of the culture. Not only did the Zulu Nation throw parties and have fun, but they showed people that there was a world outside of the Bronx. Bam spent a time away from the turntables, teaching and preaching with Zulu members to bring out positive change. Today, Bam's Zulu Nation has spread to an estimated 10,000 members in more than 20 countries.
This is Africa Bambaataa, Universal Zulu Nation, godfather of hip-hop culture, standing on the fifth element, knowledge, culture, and overstanding, as we sign out on planet Earth, because I got to get back to my other universe, in another dimension of time, of dark matter, driving through the speed of light.
Africa Bambaataa.
Africa Islam.
Africa Islam, that's right.
Peace and blessings to all the beings and human beings on our planet so-called Earth and in our universe. This is Africa Bambaataa, Universal Zulu Nation, the godfather of hip-hop culture, as I come from many planets to blow your funky mind.
When I was little, I used to hear about Bambaataa and Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, them cats like that. If it wasn't from them, it wouldn't be no hip-hop at all.
It's so deep as far as what Bam did in hip-hop. Bam started out in Bronx River when in his house.
My very first time at Bam's party, I danced against members of the Shaka Zulus. I came out victorious. I got to meet Bam. We became tight, you know. Turned out that we knew each other through various associations of the Black Spades.
Bam brought the leadership. He brought the positive into it.
Yes.
Because it was a lot of negative. Bam brought the positive in.
Use your mind. Use your mind. Enjoy music. Learn to listen to the music. Listen to the beat. Bam always taught us, listen to the beat. When he plays his music, he always start off instrumental first. Then he'll put in James Brown or listen to drummer's beat. Then you feel it. You feel it. Apache. You felt all this. All this came from within you.
I became the godfather of hip-hop culture, which was put on me by the people who loved hip-hop. I became the grandfather of hip-hop culture by all the other second and third generation who came out under the native tongues and many of the other groups that was coming out who called me the grandfather of hip-hop.
Well, if it wasn't for Africa Bambaataa, I wouldn't be here now. He influenced me such a great deal. I used to go to his house back in the days in Bronx River. He had records all over the place, turntables. I mean, there were things that were going on that I couldn't even comprehend at the time.
Basically, he was the man. You know, if you wanted to go to a party where the music was totally different, Bambaataa was the man. He's on the side of town nobody really wanted to play in. And the beautiful thing about that was when you went, you knew you was at a different party. You knew it was different from going to say like Herc, AJ and Lovebug, or Smokey and the Smokatrons. I mean, Bam was just Bam. He was his own man doing his own thing, and like I said, that was the place to be. 123, Bronx River.
Nobody could claim that they was talking about hip-hop until they got with the Universal Zulu Nation, because before that it was no name. We used to call it boing on yoing or that bebop type of thing.
Africa Bambaataa, he created the Zulu Nation, and the idea behind that was to bring the people together, to bring the youth, to bring the streets, to bring the ghetto together so we could do something constructive and creative to get up out the ghetto.
I started off in the Zulu Nation in Stone City Chapter 5, and that was Tony Tone from Lafayette, and he was our chapter leader.
Zulu Nation brought unity to the game as far as putting everybody together under one flag, because back in the days it was like a lot of gang violence like in the early 70s and stuff. So Bam, Africa Bambaataa, through his vision, formed what he calls the Zulu Nation.
Zulu Nation encouraged me to live the hip-hop culture in so many ways that we don't have enough tape to go into that.
The Zulu Nation was such a big family. Everybody so close in together, and being part of that, you could go anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world, and you were part of that group. Then you were down with a family, no matter where you were.
The official birthday of the Universal Zulu Nation and the official birthday for when we named the culture hip-hop is November 12th, 1973.
They are the founding fathers. They're the kings. They pass it down to us, and we pass it so forth on.
I live wherever I live on the planet so-called Earth, whether I'm in the Bronx, New York, whether I'm in Brooklyn, whether I'm in Florida, whether I'm in the Middle East, whether I'm in Africa, the West Indies, the Isles of Pacific, all over the planet. But I'm not really from this planet.
Originally consisted of DJs, a couple of B-boys, and some graph artists, and ex-gang members who were security or whatever.
Oh, Zulu positive all the way, all the way. Ain't nothing bad about Zulu,
The Universal Zulu Nation is a huge body of individuals, people of all races and nationality and religious background, who stand for knowledge, wisdom, understanding, freedom, justice, and equality, peace, unity, love, and having fun, overcoming the negative to the positive, science, mathematics, faith, and the oneness of God. This is what the Universal Zulu Nation stands for.
You're looking at the byproduct, the end result, and the next result. That's what I'm going to birth from out the Zulu womb. They groomed me.
Bam showed them a better way of how to do things like through the music, express yourself through the music, and basically to leave the streets alone.
All right, back then, man, Bambaataa, the Zulu Nation, Soul Sonic Force, you know what I'm saying? They was like guys that I looked up to, you know what I'm saying? They played on one side of town, you know what I'm saying? Me and Flash and Theodore played on one other side of town. Grandmaster, Bambaataa, Theodore, they all had their situations locked down. And I have much respect for Bambaataa and Zulu Nation, you know what I'm saying? I used to pay to see him before I started DJing.
Mind control! Somebody scream! Mind control! The new world order is coming for your mind. Microchips, warlocks and witches, computer chips, and you. You gotta rock and say stop it, cause it's the century. There is such a place that creates such a melody. Our work on find a plan. I'm the master jam. Get up and dance.
I'm Zulu. You know what I mean? The fourth generator, the fourth son of Africa Bambaataa. Not the S-O-N, but the S-U-N.
I'm still a Zulu. I'm a Zulu king right to this day. But it was that many people, and we broke it up as much as we could to let everybody get their little shine and make some money and get love in hip hop.
Zulu Nation was so big that the chapters were so spread around. When there was a problem with two individual blocks, you had leaders. You can call that leader up, call Brent up from this area. There's a problem with Mike in this area, and they'll get together and squash that out of respect, because that's how we taught. We went to the leaders, and they handled that and sat two men down like gentlemen, and they talked about it.
Black Spades was really a big street game. And Africa Bambaataa was like, okay, we need to take this energy that we have, this negative energy of us fighting each other, or we out here stabbing each other, beating each other down for turf. We need to take this energy that we have and channel it in a positive way.
Back in '91, I got into the Shaka Zulu. God rest his soul, Brother B.O.
I was a Shaka Zulu, the security for the Zulu Nation. I was a lieutenant, and B.O., God bless his soul, he was the leader. I was lieutenant, you had your captains. We had a chain of command in the Shaka Zulu. And we was basically security. When something went down, you went to security to handle it before you went to the soldiers, the top guys, to handle what was going on. So we always tried to stop it in peace, but sometimes it led to violence, I ain't gonna lie.
Positive note about hip-hop music. There were gangs formed. We used hip-hop music to transcend from the gang violence.
That's right.
To go into the music. And
that's right.
And I have much respect for Bambaataa and Zulu Nation, you know what I'm saying? He's a legend.
It wasn't, when you said gang, we're not talking the Bloods and the Crips. Them was gangs, you get initiation, they talk about you get beat up. This was something that you was getting knowledge from. And so it's a totally different. You was getting knowledge, you was getting things you could tell you about how big is the earth and the circumference of the earth, and about Mecca, the holy city of Mecca. So you was getting knowledge out of this thing. This is how you got your stripes in the Zulu Nation. The more knowledge you got, the more stripes you got.
Rock the house show. Before I was a DJ, I was a straight up gangbanger, running with many of our posses of the Black Spades, the Savage Nomads, and the 70 Mortals, terrorizing all over New York City, just gangbanging and getting wild and building up our area in the southeast Bronx called Bronx River, making them come from what they would call Little Vietnam to a place they called the home of God.
Hip-hop's official birthday is November 12, 1973. The Universal Zulu Nation has been celebrating hip-hop's birthday in the month of November ever since its creation. November has always been an important month in the hip-hop history because it kicks off the transition from the outdoor summer block parties to the winter indoor jams held in school gymnasiums and community centers all over the Bronx. These cold season jams earned reputations for being the hottest hip-hop parties of the year. Some of the most legendary MC battles happened in indoor parties. The hip-hop world continues to recognize November as Hip-Hop History Month, paying tribute to its pioneers who laid the foundation and paved the way, as well as those who continue to preserve the rich tradition of the culture.
Back in November, I went to my boss, which was Senator Espada at the time. We were sitting in the office in Albany, up in the capital, state capital, and we talked about trying to bring forth and celebrate the month of November, because that's the Zulu Nation anniversary is in the month of November. So we figured the best thing to do was to make November Hip Hop History Culture Month.
Hip Hop History Culture Month. And that month is the month of November, right? And which is also the month of the Zulu Nation anniversary. All right? And there's a proclamation from the Senate on that issue. So I'm more or less trying to get these young kids to understand the culture, because there is a culture.
They made it official. It was voted unanimously. No one opposed it. All 61 senators voted yes for it. And it was by State Senator Pedro Espada Jr. And I was proud to bring forth this, because this is a very important moment. The state of New York now recognizes November as the first hip-hop history culture month, and Bambaataa as being the first hip-hop activist.
It's not about the 20-inch rims or what you riding in. It's about this music.